Namaste.
Hi,
Shall
namaste.
we start with the Guru Vandana?
Yes.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Shankarupena Machittam
Shankarupena
Shankarupena
Machittam
Machittam
Pankikritamabhudhyaya
Pankikritimabhujyaya
Pankikritamabhutyaya
Kinkariyasya Samaya
Kinkariyasya Samaya
Shankaracharyamashrage
Shankaracharyamashreye
Prahladavarado Devo
Prahladavarado Devo
Yo Nrisimhah Paro Harihi
Yo Nrisimhah Paro Harihi
Nrisimhopasakam Nityam
Nrisimhopasakam Nityam
Tam Nrisimhagurum Bhaje
Tam Nrisimhagurum Bhaje
Shri Satchidananda Shivabhinavya
Shri Satchidananda Shivabhinavya
नृसिंहभारत्यभिधान्यतीन्द्रान्
Nrisimha Bharatya Vidhanyadindran
विद्यानिधीन् मन्त्रनिधीन्
Vidyanidhin Mantranidhim
सदात्मनिष्ठान् भजे मानवशम्भुरूपान्
Sadatmanishtan Bhaje Manava Shambhurupan
सदात्मध्याननिरतम्
Sadatmadhyana Niratam
वृषगेभ्यः पराङ्मुखम्
Vishayebhyah Paranmukham
नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातम्
Naumi Shastreshu Nishnatam
चन्द्रशेखरभारतीम्
Chandrasekhara Bharatim
विवेकिनम् महाप्रज्ञम्
Vivekinam Mahaprajnam
Mahaprajnam
धैर्यौदार्यक्षमानिधिम्
Dhairyodharya Kshamanidhim
सदाभिनवपूर्वम् तम्
Sada Binavapurvantam
विद्यातीर्थगुरुम् भजे
Vidyatirtha Gurum Bhaje
भारतीकरुणापात्रम्
Bharati Karunapatram
भारतीपदभूषणम्
Bharati Padabhushanam
भारतीपदमारूढम्
Bharati Padamarudam
भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये
Bharati Tirthamashraye
विद्याविनयसम्पन्नम्
Vidya Vinaya Sampannam
वीतरागम् विवेकिनम्
Vitaragam Vivekinam
वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञम्
Vande Vedanta Tattvajnam
विधुशेखरभारतीम्
Vidushekhara Bharatim.
नमस्ते.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So this is our fourth session of YUVABHARATI. And as you know, the previous sessions, we laid the foundation. We gave you information on the foundation of Sanatana Dharma. So we'll do a quick recap of the previous session. Nityaji?
In the second session of the Yuva Bharati session, in the last week of the Yuva Bharati session, we learnt about samsara, sukha, and dukkha. So let us quickly recap what we mean by samsara, sukha, and dukkha. Quickly, can we go to the next slide, please? Yes. So samsara, as per the Gita Bhashyam, with reference to the verse 13, chapter 13, verse number 20, is defined as sukha dukkha sambhogaha. That is the experience of sukha or happiness, and dukkha, that is the sorrows, the miseries. The experience, sambhoga, together of the happiness and sorrows in one's life is what is meant by the term samsara. So, and sukha, as we understand, is happiness. Regarding dukkha, the Sankhya Karika gives much more details about dukkha. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. So the first Sankhya Karika says, dukkhatraya bhighatat jignasa tad abhigatake hetau. That means dukkhatraya. There are three types of sorrows. When a person is hit, abhigata, then there arises a jignasa, a curiosity to understand what is the reason for this kind of sorrow. So from the distress, the suffering that is caused by the three kinds of miseries, there arises a desire and interest in the person to understand what is the reason for the sorrow and how to end that sorrow. So, what are the three causes for the sorrow? Let us see. So the dukkha is maybe due to adhyatmika. That is, it may be adhyatmika. That is something that is personal. And by personal, we mean it could be sharirika, that is some bodily discomfort due to some kind of illness or anything. Or it can be manasika, that is mental, a depression due to some factors. So that is adhyatmika dukkham. Then we have the Adi Bhautika Dukkam, that is those caused by external influences, such as other people around us or other animals or creatures, anything that may be around in our surroundings, in our environment, which may cause us some kind of sorrow. And the last type of dukkha is the Adi Daivika Dukkham, that is caused by supernatural agencies, which is not in our control, which are not under our control. They can be destiny, or it can be due to nature, that is, it may affect a large population together, or it can be a person's own destiny as such, over which he has no control. That we will see later on, which will come in today's topic. Then can we have the next slide? Yes. So once one is affected by the any of the three kinds of sorrows, then one obviously tries to search for the remedies of these sorrows. So the remedies in the persons as a human will be, as a Sankhya Karika says, Drishtavad Anushravikaha Saha Hya Avishuddhi Kshaya Atishaya Yuktaha. So that is the remedy that one goes for is the obvious means, that is drishtavat, which can be seen easily, or it can be anushavikaha, that is on the spiritual path, like trying to do prayashita through homas or sacrifices, or if in the case of sharirika especially, we can take medicines, that is drishtavat. But the problem with with these kind of remedies, they have the problem of vishuddhi. That means they are impure. There is kshaya. There can be they may not be fully effective, or atishaya, or they can lead to something in excess. So these obvious means are linked with the impurity with impurity, decay, and excess. Then what is a way to what is a proper remedy for that? In that case, we see viparitaha, the opposite is the shreyan, is the best. What is the opposite? What is shreyan? Which is the best one? That is vyakta vyakta vijnanam. So vyakta avyakta vijnanat. So we have to have the vijnana, the knowledge of what is vyakta, of what is the manifest, which we call as a prakriti, and vyakta and avyakta, that is the manifest and the uh, unmanifest, that is prakriti and the purusha. So jnana is the best way to get rid of our sorrows. So this is what Sankhya Karika says. Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. In the Prashnottara Ratna Malika, there arises a question: if one has to have jnana, then what should one do? Twaritam kim kartavyam vidusham. What should the learned person, the wise person, do in order to get rid of the dukkha? Where Adi Shri Shankaracharya answers samsara santati chedha. That is, we have to stop the vicious cycle of samsara. That is, going through this experience of sorrow and happiness again and again, that we have to stop. So that is how we can get complete sukha. And what do we mean by complete sukha? Can we have the next slide, please? Yes. So sukha is Atyantika dukkha nivritti. That means it is a complete riddance of sorrows. And by that we mean moksha. Moksha is the ultimate blissful state, that is complete happiness. So if we want sukha, only sukha, and we don't want to have dukkha, then we have to go aim for moksha, that is a supreme purusharthas that we know of, that has been prescribed to us. So moksha is atyantika dukkha, that is complete riddance of sorrows. And how do we obtain that moksha is only through jnana. So this is what we had seen in our last episode.
Thank you, Nitya. Jane, that was a good summing up of the previous session. So Today, we will be looking into, in the previous episode, Lalitji had told us that there is an eightfold manner in which to carry out dharma. So, how does this, all the qualities, the good qualities that he specified, translate into action? And that is where karma comes into play. So today it has a very important role, as you all know, and invariably, at some point or the other, we all ask this question: why am I caught in this? Why is this meted out to me? How do I get out of this? All this is related to karma. And and for this, since we have so many questions to ask, we have brought Sri Venkatji. And Venkatji, I would like to ask you first, what is the nature of karma?
This is a very subtle question.
The third chapter of it brings the third chapter of Gita to my mind. Where avasha karyate hi avasha karma. That in
Exactly.
mind, I'm asking you.
So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I hear a slight echo in the background, but hopefully you can hear me okay. Okay. So I think that's a very subtle question that you have posed, Vasumati, and I think it is something that all of us should examine, because this karma theory is something which is a very unique aspect of Hinduism. So it is found in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, etc. But I consider those as offshoots of Sanatana Dharma, and therefore the concept of karma originally and uniquely finds a place in Sanatana Dharma. And essentially, what this is when we are talking about this sukha dukkha sambhoga, the definition of samsara as the experience of pleasure and pain, what is the cause of pleasure and pain? And the answer that Sanatana Dharma says, it is you, the jiva, who is performing these karmas, who is the original cause of all, both the good results and the happiness that you face, and the bad results and the pain that you face are both a direct result of the karmas that you have committed. So, what is the reason for that? Every action that we perform comes with it a consequence, and the doer of the action is also the experiencer of the result of the action. So the karta, the doer, is the same as the bhokta, the experiencer. So as you do, so you shall reap. We have this saying, right? Essentially the basic or basis of this is karma, and this karma is I would describe this. There are many ways of classifying this karma. So, karma is essentially actions that are performed. And one way of classification, therefore, is based on the instruments of action. So, there is the body, there is the organ of speech, and there is the mind. So, we have these are the three instruments available to us with which to act. So, the karma performed by these three organs are called the three ways of classifying karma. So there is kayika karma performed by the body, there is vachika karma, words that we speak, and there's manasika karma, the thoughts that we have. All of these three things have consequences. So if our thoughts, our words, and our actions are in sync and in line with this universal dharma that was spoken about in the previous session, then the results of it will be positive, and punya phala will come as a result of that. If it is in opposition to that universal dharma principle, then the results will be negative and papa phala will come, meaning that you will face trouble. So, I think Lalitji had spoken about the three kinds of misery, no? The adidaivam, adibhautikam, adhyatmikam. And Nityaji had said that some of these are not in our control. Correct. When you are experiencing them, they are not in our control, but the original source of them, meaning the cause for why we are experiencing it, is definitely us. So, whatever we are facing is because of our actions committed by our body, our actions committed by our mind, our actions committed by our thoughts, by our speech, by our words, deeds, and action. So, and so that is one way of looking at karma. And another way of looking at karma is in terms of the three periods of time. And I think in this thing, Vasumatiji, you had one particular question you wanted to know about when this karma starts. If you wanted to clarify that, maybe I can take it from the further from there. I think you may be on mute if you are asking me a question.
Uh, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Actually, we hear this statement very often. I've heard many people ask this. Wow, this child is a newborn child. Why does this child undergo so much? He has not committed any, you cannot explain it in terms of sin that he's committed now.
Correct.
At the face of it, he's still, he doesn't know anything, he cannot speak, he's in the control of his parents. He's not, on his own, he's not done any karma. So, why is he undergoing so much of suffering? The child may be sick, the child may be having some disability, something or the other. So such parents, they have these questions.
I think this is a very natural question. All of us ask this sometime in our lives. We would have asked it. If not, we will. If we haven't asked so far, we will ask. And so, questions like, why am I born in this world? Why is someone born in a rich family? Why is someone born in a poor family? Why is someone a musical prodigy? You would have seen these videos of like these 5-year-old boys and girls. One person will sing a raga and they will immediately be able to find out, which raga it is. And people after 30 years of music, they'll still be struggling. So why is that some people are born prodigies, some people are not? Why some people in very favorable circumstances and some people are not? So does this mean that Ishvara or God, is he like partial to some people? Is he like favor some people more than others? Is he like not favoring other people? Is he like our maths teacher in fifth standard who who treated us in a different way from others? No, Ishvara is not like that. God is not like that. It's essentially the reason for this is the karma of that jiva. Now, it may seem very harsh to us. How can a little child, what karma would it have committed? It is just born. Correct. So, what karma would it have committed? And the answer that Sanatana Dharma says, the karma, every one of us is carrying with us an invisible bundle. And this invisible bundle is this karma that we have committed not just in this birth, but in millions and millions of births. So, samsara is anadi, it has no beginning. There is no one point in time when it all began. It all goes in a cycle. So, as Krishna tells Arjuna, there was no instance of time, Arjuna, when you were not there, when I was not there, and when these kings who are fighting in the battlefield are not there. They have always been there, and they always will be there. And so, what does that mean? It means that whatever karma phala that we are carrying, whatever karma we have performed in our past births, is all getting added to our karmic bank balance. And this karmic bank balance is constantly getting added by newer and newer and newer karma every time. And so another way of classifying karma is into threefold. Is the first one is called this big bundle, invisible bundle that we are carrying, that we are born with, and we will continue to have, is called sanchita karma. And so this is the karma that has accrued from all the countless births that we have had before, and the results of those karmas are all waiting for to produce their result. So the only way karma phala can be exhausted is through experience. There's another one way also, but that is beyond the scope of this session, and that way is jnana. Jnana sarvakarma bhasmasat kurute Arjuna, as Bhagavan says. Jnana burns all karma phala, but we will take that separate because most of us, all of us normal people, are still in wallowing in samsara. So for us, the only way of exhausting karma is through experience, and there is no one birth cannot exhaust all our historical karma because, as I said, it is samsara has been carrying on since time immemorial, and we have been performing both good karma and bad karma since time immemorial, and that gets added to our karmic bank balance, the sanchita karma bank balance. And then what happens at some time? Ishvara says, okay, this is a time for this jiva to experience the results of XYZ karma. And so he will then give that birth to a jiva based on that karma. And so the karma that has started giving from this karmic bank balance is called prarabdha karma. And that prarabdha karma is the reason why a jiva takes birth. So some portion of that karma is exhausted by the jiva taking birth. And through that birth in that body, whether it's a human, whether it is as a deva, whether it is in naraka, there will be some birth. So what distinguishes these three different types of births? If you have, if Ishvara has chosen a significant amount of punya karma, and if the jiva has performed an extraordinary amount of punya karma, then the Ishvara will give a birth as a supreme being, like a deva. You can be born as Indra, etc. You hear stories that this happens. Or you are, if you are committed a significant amount of papa karma, then to exhaust that papa karma, the only option for Ishvara is to give you birth in Naraka. So you'll have to go there and exhaust it again through experience. So devas exhaust their punya karma through the experience as a deva. The jivas in the narakaloka experience their papa karma, the extreme papa karma, through the experience of pain and suffering in narakaloka. And those like us who are born in manushya are have committed both punya karma and papa karma. So we have been given this birth. And even in this bhuloka, there are certain creatures. So people who like jivas who have committed more papa karma than punya are born as animals, as insects, etc. And like people who have done more punya karma are born as humans. And there too, some people are born in like royal families. Some people are born in poor families. Some people are born with like healthy bodies. Some people are born with unhealthy bodies. Some people have extreme amount of happiness that they predominantly happiness that they face. That is because they have done predominant amount of punya karmas in that birth. So so that is prarabdha karma. So the karmas that have started fructifying, giving the results, and the result of karma is experience, sambhoga, sukha dukkhanam sambhoga samsara, and that experience is the cause for that experience is prarabdha karma. Now, we are not quiet though in our lives. We will continue to do karma. So, the moment we are born, we continue to start performing karmas. Now, if those karmas are in line with the universal principle of dharma, then those karmas get added on to our bank balance as punya karma. And if we are then acting against the principles of the dharma, those karmas will go add to our bank balance as papa karma. At some point, we'll have this experience of that punya karma and papa karma. So this cycle will continuously keep going on and on and on. And the only way out of the cycle is through what is known as jnana. And when that jnana arises, then all the karma is exhausted and samsara ends for that jiva in that birth. Now, how we come to that jnana, etc., is a big topic. So let's not cover that right now. Let's focus this on the karma aspects. Now, apart from this, there's so this karma that we are about to perform, and the karma that will give results in the future is called agami karma. So there is sanchita karma, which is the karmas done in the past birth. The prarabdha karma are those actions that are giving us the results that have caused this particular birth, and in which we have various amounts of happiness and sorrow, those different experiences. That is all prarabdha karma. And the karma that we are about to perform in the future and which will give results in the future are called agami karma. So that is the karma, past, present, and the future.
So, Soumya, you can. She has a question to ask because if karma is predestined, then she let her come up with a question.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question that was put forth by one of my students. Okay. So this that, after going to certain Gita classes and everything, there is a point in Gita where she has understood that God controls everything and, gives us the phalam of, your karma. So be it good or bad, you are going to face it, right? So but what is then the benefit of praying to God? Like, she realizes that because even if I really pray to him, if I've done bad karmas, I am going to get the bad. But I know that her parents and everyone has told her that, when you pray to God, everything good will happen. And even if you face something bad, He's going to give you the strength to deal with it. But why should I pray to God whether neither, when neither good or bad is determined by my prayers to Him, you know? So then she wonders,
Correct.
why should I even pray then?
Okay, that is a very good question, actually. In fact, we were discussing about this earlier, and I was saying that position that she has taken is like the position of the Purva Mimamsaka. So, like Kumarala Bhatta and Prabhakara Mishra in centuries of past, they have said, like, not Kumarala Bhatta, but like other Mimamsakas have said, if the karma itself is going to give results, what is the use of Ishvara? To which Shankaracharya says, no, 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 you shouldn't say that. Because, see, karma in itself is like an inert thing. It's an action that you have performed. And for it to give results, it needs a conscious entity that is aware of what the karmas are and what its results are. And the only supreme person that can, who has the knowledge to be able to do that is Ishvara. So his omniscience allows him to know which jiva has committed which karma and when to give the result of that karma. So, to answer your friend or person who asked this question,
Yeah.
what I would say is that the purpose of prayer is twofold. One, prayer essentially is a way for us to calm ourselves down, because whenever we are in difficult points in our life, the first thing that it affects is our mind, in the sense that we become anxious, we become depressed. And the biggest gift that we have been given is our mind, and the biggest problem that we have was also our mind. Because if our mind is within our control, if it is reasonably calm, then the decisions that we will take, we will be guided by intellect. And it is when we are depressed, when we are agitated, when we are angry, that we make wrong choices. And as we see, every choice that we make has consequences. Because if you take the right choice and it's in line with dharma, then you will get punyaphala. And if you take the wrong choice and it's in line with adharma or against dharma, then it will cause papaphala. So, when the one purpose of prayer is to calm ourselves down. The second purpose of prayer is that while it is not going, while your friend is absolutely right, she or he will face the consequences of their actions. However, Ishvara has within his control when to give that result and how severe should that result should be. Because if, for example, what is the purpose of Ishvara giving these results? So Ishvara is giving these results not to punish us or not to give us a reward. Ishvara is giving us these results because ultimately he wants everyone to come on the path of jnana, to attain liberation and become one with him. And therefore, what Ishvara is trying to do is to give the right amount of, uh, it's like a medicine that a mother gives a child. The purpose of the medicine may cause its own side effects, but the side effects itself is not the purpose of the medicine. The purpose of the medicine is to essentially solve the problem, is to teach. So is there a teachable thing through that experience? And therefore the purpose of prayer there is, what are you asking Ishvara? Not to like, please don't cause problems for me. You're asking, give me the strength to be able to withstand whatever you give me the wisdom to be able to, when I attain success, let that success not go to my head. When I attain failure, let that failure not dishearten me. Let me learn that what I am achieving right now is entirely down to you, Ishvara, who has given me. And what I have failed to achieve, Ishvara, is entirely down to me, because I have done something which is causing problems in the past, and I will accept the consequences of that. So it is a prayer for wisdom, and it's a pray and it's accepted in an attitude that whatever Ishvara gives is an Ishvara prasada. That is the purpose of prayer.
Thank you so much. So there's another question that one of my students have asked me is whether, God micromanages everything, or is it just, the overall picture? So is he watching every small move of mine, or is he just watching only the bigger moves that I make in life? So she asked me that.
Yes, God is watching everything, everything all the time. You know what? Whatever thought that you have, it is where He is the antaryami, or he or she is the antaryami. She is within our hearts all the time. So whatever actions we do, whatever thoughts we have, whatever words we speak is being constantly witnessed. And the consequences of that are constantly being added to our bank balance. But God does not micromanage. And that is the beauty. That is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. See, in the Gita, see, Bhagavan Krishna, Sri Krishna could immediately have said, Krishna, I mean, Arjuna, I'm ordering you, do this, go fight. But no, he spends 18 chapters, 700 odd verses trying to explain to Arjuna why he should come on the right path. But what is the purpose? Is the purpose merely to, browbeat Arjuna into doing this? No. At the end of the 18th chapter, he says, I have taught you all of these things. Now you please examine these things and see what is correct. Etad asheshena vimrishya yathechasi tatha kuru. After I have taught you this very, very powerful teaching, very secretive teaching, very subtle teaching. Now what I want you to do, Arjuna, is to go and think about it and do what you think is correct. Why? Because Sanatana Dharma says that free will is fundamental. You, the jiva, have the complete freedom to act. Now, you may not have the freedom to act. There may be like rules in terms of what is physically possible, right? There is a certain capability that people have. So that limitation factor is there. So you cannot say I want to start flying or whatever. You cannot do that. But so there are certain limitation factors. But the choice of whether to act or not to act or to act differently, kartum, akartum, anyatha kartum, is entirely up to you. So you have the free will to act, and that is why the doer is the experiencer. See, for example, if I say that the karta is the bhokta, whoever performs an action gets the result, and then I say God micromanages everything and He controls everything, that means you really don't have the freedom. So essentially, what that comes back to the original statement or original question: does God favor some people and does God disfavor other people? If He was micromanaging everything to such an extent that you did not have any control over what actions to take, then it is as good as saying Ishvara is simply giving some people good results and some people bad results out of His sense of favor or disfavor of somebody. But that is not the case. You, the jiva, or we, the jivas, have the freedom to act. And we have the freedom to act in a particular way. And if we act in a way which is in consonance with dharma, then we will get favored results. And if we act in a way which is not in consonance with dharma, then we will get problematic results. So Ishvara witnesses everything, but he leaves the choices of what to do. Yathechasi tatha kuru. You do what you think is correct. But so therefore, what is our responsibility? Our responsibility is to know what is correct. Our responsibility is to know what should be done and what should not be done. Just like, for example, if I'm driving a car and I drive it without knowing how to drive a car, then I have to bear the responsibility. I'm responsible for the actions that I'm taking. The other people, you cannot say that anyone can act in any manner that they want to. Every person's actions have consequences, but they can only have consequences if that person has the free will to act when he's acting. So there is this very interesting story in the Mahabharata of the Mandavya Rishi. So once there was this Rishi called Mandavya Rishi who had taken a vow of silence, and he was doing a lot of tapas in the forest. So a bunch of thieves come to his ashrama and hide all the loot, and they are hiding in his ashrama. The soldiers come and they look at this person who's dressed like a rishi and is closing his eyes, and so they ask him, oh, who are these thieves, etc. They catch hold of the thieves, so they find that there's a huge amount of loot sitting in this ashrama, and they see this person who doesn't answer any of their questions because the poor man is doing mauna vratam. So they think he is also a thief, and they catch hold of him. And they go to the Raja and say, everybody caught. There's one person who's not speaking at all. Raja doesn't ask anything. He punishes everybody. So he says, I'm going to impale all of you. So he impales everybody. Everyone dies. Mandava Rishi, because of he's a real Rishi, because of his tapo shakti, he does not die. And so the Raja runs there and asks, okay, he says, I may have committed a huge papa here. Please tell me what I've done. And then, so the Mandavya Rishi says, actually, I'm a Rishi. I had taken a Mauna Vrata at that point in time, and therefore I am not dying right now. And so somehow that the Raja tries to take out the stake, but is not able to do that, and then it goes on. He becomes known as Animandavya. They cut off the stake, etc. At the end of the Rishi's life, he goes to Yamaloka and he challenges Yamadharmaraja. He says, "I have never committed any papa in my life. How can you how can I face the consequences like this?" To which Yamadharmaraja says, "No, no, no. When you were a child, you used to take a pin and used to keep poking butterflies with that pin, and because you were poking butterflies with that pin, now you that consequence of that is like this. So you have been impaled right now." To which Mandavi Rishi says, "You know what? What is the fundamental aspect of karma? That when I'm doing the karma, I have the faculties to know what is right and what is wrong. As a child, I did not have that faculties. I did not have the Viveka Shakti. A mistake committed by a child should not have the same consequences as the mistake committed by an adult who should have known better. So therefore, Yamadharmaraja, you have slipped in your duty, and therefore I'm going to curse you. May you be born as as a human the next life." And so he comes as Vidura. So the important lesson in this story is the exercise of free will by a person who ought to have the faculties to know what is correct and what is wrong. So what is the lesson that we can learn from this? That we, with as blessed by Ishvara, with to possess a reasonable level of intelligence, I think we should know what is correct and what is wrong. So what is the means to know that? Shastra. So the Vedas say. So Sayanacharya, for example, when he starts his Veda Bhashya, he starts off by saying, "Pratyakshenanumitya va yastupayona budhyate enam vidanti vedena tasmat vedasya vedata." So what makes the Veda? He says, the Veda's purpose is to reveal that which cannot be known otherwise through pratyaksha perception or anumana, logical reasoning. So that which is beyond the realm of perception and reasoning, right? Things like dharma, what is truly good, what is truly evil, that you can know by studying the Veda. So our uh, responsibility as people blessed with intellect is to make ourselves aware of what is correct and what is not correct, and using the Vedas, approaching a guru, and learning the how to distinguish between good and evil. So we all are born with certain levels of reasoning, certain levels of, like, there's a universal morality that everyone has, that everyone learns, but there is a Vishesha Dharma that can only be learned through the Vedas, because what is acceptable in society today was not acceptable 100 years ago. What is acceptable in 100 years ago was not acceptable 1,000 years ago. What is acceptable today will not be acceptable tomorrow. So, does that mean that there is no universal standard for what is good and what is bad? No, there is. There is a universal standard, and we have to, it's our responsibility to know what that universal standard is, and for that the Veda is there to reveal that which we cannot know otherwise, which society cannot teach us otherwise, which an observation of the world will not teach us otherwise. There are things subtler than that, and to reveal those subtle things you have tasmat vedasya vedata. That's why you have the Vedas.
Thank you. Just a last minute question, just a
Hmm.
small question that one of my students has just put in. So she asked me that will God forgive you for a mistake that we have made? Like if I realize my mistake and if I've asked for forgiveness, like in spite of making a mistake from my thought or my action or anything, will God forgive me for it? Is her question.
Of course, of course, certainly. If one is very sincere about that, see, shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So most important thing, why is certain actions that we perform will have very good results, but this same action if we perform again will not have good results. Why is that? What is the differentiating factor? Shraddha. So if we have Shraddha, if we have faith, if we have sincerity, and we, whatever action, whether it's seeking forgiveness or even like if you study for an exam, right? The amount of sincerity that we show will be directly proportional to the results. So yes, so the answer is yes. Ishvara will certainly forgive, if we have committed a mistake, we know that we have committed a mistake, and we make a resolution that we will not commit the mistake, He will certainly forgive. How that forgiveness manifests itself remains to be seen. We cannot say. That is on a case by case basis.
Okay, thank you so much.
Very good. I think it probably covers. Yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to say. So this thing about coming back to the Gita. So, for example, in one of the shlokas, Krishna tells Arjuna, "Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha." So there are two aspects here. He says, at all times, Arjuna, think of me, because while if you are thinking of me, then your actions will be guided in the right way. If you know that I am watching you and you remember that I am watching you, then you will do the right things. But don't just, for that reason, don't say I'll only keep praying. So if I have to study for an exam, if I have to like pass an exam, I cannot keep praying to Ishvara and say, oh please, let me pass this exam. You have to also work for it. So he says yudhyacha also. So there are two things. So fate is not simply something which is all, everything is predestined, and therefore all you have to do is keep praying Ishvara so that your fate is good. It is not that. You have to also work towards it. You have the ability to influence your fate. Because what is fate? Fate is nothing but the sum total of all your previous karmas. And what is free will? Your ability, the guiding force for your present karmas. So if you work hard enough, you put the amount of effort, your present karma can overcome your past karma.
Okay.
So, if, for example, we work towards something and it is not giving a result, we should not lose heart, because what that means is that there is a equal and maybe stronger opposing force of past karma which is blocking it. So, what does that mean? Should we simply give up? No, keep at it, keep fighting, because it is not some Ishvara is not, he has extreme power to change it, but he wants you to work towards the solution, because you have the ability to fix your own problems.
Yeah, I got that. So basically, if she's forgiven of her mistake, the point
Uh,
is, then what about the karma phalan? Like, is she going to face it then? Like, if she's going to be forgiven for what she has done, is she going to face the
there
consequences?
will be some. See, that's what I said. That
Yeah.
Gehana karmasya gatihi. It is a very subtle path. We cannot say for sure how the results will be. But what I can certainly say is that if she had done the mistake with impunity and did not seek forgiveness,
No, if it is forgiven, if
that
one
will
is
be a worse result.
forgiven, if one is forgiven, then are they going to
That's,
still face it? Is my question.
No, it depends. It depends on what it is. You cannot make a general statement like, they will face it or not. But I think what I can certainly say is that let this be a no. This is not true, not for just her, for everybody,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is, like, the intensity will not be that hard. See, it is possible that you don't face the karma phala also. It is possible. We cannot say in a general rule that Ishvara will forgive you and therefore you will face nothing. You cannot say that, because that is why Ishvara is the karma phala data. It's up to him how he does it, but what he will guide, what will guide his decision will be the sincerity of the apology, and what steps you have taken to avoid making this mistake in the future.
Got it. Thanks.
Basmati நீங்க வந்து I think you are on mute. Mute left.
Unmuted. Actually, that was one point I wanted to add, because you should also have the resolve not to repeat it again.
Correct.
You've asked for forgiveness. Even with your mother, if you ask for forgiveness, then they expect you not to do it again. Try at least,
Correct.
and pray that you may not. So develop a resolve not to repeat the mistake again. That is very
Correct.
important.
Correct. See, because Ishvara is no different from them. See, it's like the kindness of 1,000 mothers. Like Shankaracharya describes Veda as the like has your it's like a well-wisher of yours, like 1,000 mothers. So what to speak of Ishvara, whose life breath is the Veda? So definitely, it's the compassion is the source. The source of compassion is Ishvara. So definitely, and justice. And so whatever actions that you take, if you make a resolve, if you sincerely make a resolution not to repeat the mistake and go about not repeating the mistake, definitely the compassionate Ishvara will not punish you too much. But to a certain extent, you cannot say that that karma will just go away. That means, see, because I'll tell you how. So, for example, um, in the Gita Bhashya, there's one section where Shankaracharya asks a question. That you have to do this nitya karma, naimitya karma. Nitya karma is like Sandhya Vandanam, etc. So Shankara and the Purva Mimamsaka is the opponent there, and so the Purva Mimamsaka says, if you do not do nitya karma, then you will get papa. If you don't do Sandhya Vandanam, you will get papa. So Shankaracharya says, no, that's not the case. No. Why is that? Because the if you don't do a karma, that is like the nature of that is absence. That means you're not doing something. How can not doing something give you papa? So the absence cannot produce presence, right? So existence, so absence cannot produce existence. So he says, therefore, you not doing karma, nitya karma, will not produce the papa. What it does though is that when you perform nitya karma, that acts as a shield for you. It protects you from the onslaught of prarabdha karma. So you performing nitya karma will protect you from papa. If you don't perform nitya karma, you don't have the defense mechanism. You don't have the shield, and that causes you to experience the papa phala. So the connection here is the sincerity of your prayer acts as a protection against the karma producing the results. So if you sincerely make a resolution that you will not do it again, if you sincerely seek forgiveness, that will protect you even if the karma produces its results. It will be like the your experience of pain in a dream. The results will be less. So that itself acts as like a protective mechanism for you. That's what I want. That's the point I want to convey.
There is an email query. Do we have time to take that? Can I quote that email?
Yes, yes, sure.
Yes. So there is a viewer who has asked, can a devoted Shishya who absolutely surrenders his entire life at the lotus feet of his Guru be freed from all the actions of his life? In this situation, does the Guru undo his karmas and bless him with the moksha sthiti?
Okay. So the thing is, so we are coming to the realm of jnana here. Now, the only way that we can free ourselves from samsara is through jnana and through the knowledge of the true nature of the Atma and the true nature of Ishvara. And such a knowledge frees one from the cycles of samsara. How that knowledge frees, etc., is like it's a topic which is too deep for this session. So I don't want to go into that. But what I will say is that in that particular example, the way the guru frees the shishya is by teaching the shishya about the true nature of himself, of that shishya. And that knowledge frees that shishya from all the karma. So we spoke about the three kinds of karma: the sanchita karma, the prarabdha karma, and the agami karma. So the what the jnana does is it destroys the sanchita karma, this bundle. It destroys the agami karma because the jiva does not perform karma anymore after that point, after the rise of jnana. But what it does not do is it does not destroy prarabdha karma, because prarabdha karma has started giving its result already. And so, just like an arrow that's been let off, until it hits its target, it will not stop. So, prarabdha karma has started producing its result like an arrow. So, until the results have been produced, it will not stop. So, the prarabdha karma will still remain, and even for a jnani, the reason the jnani survives as a jivan mukta is because of his prarabdha. So as Shankaracharya says, prarabdhaya samarpitam vapuhi ityesha manisha mama. My firm conviction is that this body has been submitted to prarabdha. So I am a jnani, Shankaracharya says, but I know that whatever trials and tribulations this body faces through the rest of its life is because of prarabdha karma. It will face. I am merely a witness to that experience. So the acharya in that question will through jnana will free the disciple of the sanchita karma and the agami karma. The prarabdha karma will be experienced by the jiva, And at the end of the prarabdha karma, when the time has when it has performed its role, it automatically will exhaust itself. The body will drop, and then the jiva will attain videha mukti. So after the rise of jnana, as long as prarabdha continues, he will be a jivan mukta, and when the prarabdha ends, the body will be dropped, and he will become a videha mukta.
Thank you, Ji. That was a very nice explanation.
Welcome.
Can you unmute Bharat? Ah, so thank you so much, Venkatraghavanji, for taking this session through and answering some very, very important questions that come up in all our minds. And what was very nice was we had children asking questions or youngsters asking questions this time, and relevant questions also. Something that it does not have any age or anything. I mean, it spans. Everyone has these doubts.
Correct.
So thank you so much, Soumya ji, joining us. And with Acharya's grace, I do hope we can have many more such fruitful sessions. Let us think about what we have learned today, and I think this will give us clarity on the thought of karma, how we can take control of our lives by handling karma in a manner Venkatji showed us. Venkatji, can we have a short prayer to any other questions? Nothing. Have you finished? You're through, Soumya? Nityaji?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. We'll
Yes,
say
Ji.
after.
Yes.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru
Guru
Devo
Brahma
Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma,
Parabrahma.
Tasmai Shri
Shri
Gurave
Gurave
Namaha,
Namaha.
Shri Guru Namaha, Harihi Om.